Welcome to Tales from South Florida, the podcast where the past still whispers through the palms, the streets, and the stories we almost forgot. I'm your host, Bill Monty, and today I'm inviting you on a talk down memory lane with me to a place that once thrived, then vanished, and yet never really disappeared. It's a town that no longer exists on maps, but it does live on in the soil and in the street names. This is Yamato, Florida's invisible town.
These are the tales from South Florida for you, with your host, Bill Monty.
At the turn of the 20th century, South Florida was still raw, hot, mosquito-filled, wild. Kind of sounds like the 21st century, too. But into that heat came a small group of Japanese immigrants led by someone named Joe Sakai, who envisioned something bold, a self-sustaining agricultural colony built on discipline, cooperation, and hard work. They named it Yamato Colony, after the ancient name for Japan, which symbolized unity, heritage, and pride. The settlers purchased land west of what is now Boca Raton and planted pineapples, vegetables, and sugarcane. They built homes, a school, and community buildings. They spoke Japanese, followed traditional customs, and carved out a new life, thousands of miles from home. Now, keep in mind, this was not a tourist fantasy. This was sweat equity, sunburns, calloused hands, and faith. Faith in what you were building today, and faith in tomorrow. And for a while, well, it worked. After all, during that time, pineapple, believe it or not, more so than even Hawaii or California, Florida was the pineapple capital of the world. Not so much now, and of course, soon after that it got overtaken by citrus, by orange, grapefruit, and the like. But at the time, becoming a pineapple farmer, that was a pretty good way to make a living. Yamato's pineapples became famous, sweet, profitable, in demand. The colony shipped produce north, proving that Japanese farmers could succeed in Florida's harsh conditions. But South Florida has always been a place where nature and economics make the rules. The soil was difficult. Frost wiped out the crops. Transportation, well, back then it was expensive. And the pineapple market collapsed. Still, the settlers endured until history intervened. Life in Yamato became harder during World War I, not because of crops, but because of perception. Japanese residents faced suspicion, surveillance, and legal restrictions on land ownership. Some settlers returned to Japan. Others moved elsewhere in Florida or across the country. And by the early 1920s, the population had dwindled. No fire, no catastrophe, no dramatic ending. Yamato didn't fail. It faded. By 1925, Yamato was effectively gone. Buildings were abandoned or dismantled, fields returned to scrub, roads disappeared beneath sand and weeds, and just like that, an entire town slipped through history's fingers. But here's the thing about South Florida. With our stories, our tales, we never really, truly forget. What's there now? Well, if you drive through modern Boca Raton, you will not find a sign that says "Welcome to Yamato," but you will find clues. For instance, Yamato Road, a name that survives as a breadcrumb trail through time. The beautiful Morikami Museum and Japanese Gardens, founded on lands once farmed by Yamato settlers. And a beautiful place. If you've never been to Morikami Museum and Japanese Gardens, go. It is truly tranquil. A step back in time. It takes you out of the hurry and the hustle and the bustle of South Florida. It's a place of peace. If you haven't been there, you're missing out on a really unique South Florida destination. Yamato also exists in the agricultural patterns that shaped early Palm Beach County. Family names from that time still echo through Florida history. The Morikami Museum, it stands as a spiritual descendant of Yamato, a place of remembrance, beauty, and cultural respect. The town is gone. The legacy is not. And why does it still matter? Yamato challenges the myth that South Florida's history is only beaches, hotels, and where people come to retire. It reminds us that immigrants helped build this region. Diversity has deep roots here. Some of the most important stories leave no skyline behind. Yamato was invisible not because it was small, but because history didn't stop to take a look. And here on Tales from South Florida, that's what we're here to do. So the next time you've stopped at a light on Yamato Road or wandered the gardens at Morikami, take a moment. Listen. You might just hear the sound of farmers working the fields, of children learning 2 languages, of a town that lived quietly but boldly. By the time World War II started, there weren't many residents left in Yamato, only actually about 6. Obviously, the problems that the Japanese immigrants encountered in America during that time, the internment camps, lack of ability to travel from county to county without permission, having to always have ID, the suspicion in people's eyes. Well, that is also what helped bring about the end of the Yamato colony, which is sad, and hopefully a lesson learned so well that we are not repeating it again. South Florida's had its share of small towns, small areas, some that are still around and some that have disappeared. If you like, I invite you to revisit an earlier episode where we talk about some of the small towns of South Florida, such as Ogis, Hacienda Village, and more. I'll put the link to that in the show notes, or simply visit talesfromsouthflorida.com and look for the episode entitled Small Towns. If this story moved you, if you learned something new, if you felt that tug of nostalgia, I invite you to please like, follow, and subscribe to Tales from South Florida. Comment and share, because that's how this show grows and how these stories survive. Every click helps keep South Florida's hidden history alive. I'm Bill Monty, and this has been Tales from South Florida. Until next time, keep walking, keep listening, be safe, and be kind.
Let's take a talk down memory lane, 'cause the stories around here are just insane. Pirates World, the Sporto and Wolfies too. Palm Beach to Key West, that's where we grew. These are the tales from South Florida for you. With your host, Bill Monty.
Hello, friends. Bill Monty here, and I'm inviting you to join me on the podcast, Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older. Now, this is not a podcast about being old. No, it's about understanding the world we're growing older in, how we care for each other, how we protect what we've built, and how we make sense of the systems that are supposed to look out for us, especially when we need them the most. Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older. It is available wherever fine podcasts can be found, and I look forward to talking with you soon.